welcome to another episode of Bridge the Channel, coming to you as always from London. And today we're coming to you with few major pieces of political development, political negotiations, international negotiations, right about when the summer break is about to kick in full gear. We have had the Nato summit in Vilnius, Lithuania, which did not go exactly according to plan when it comes to Ukraine. And here, a British minister actually played quite an important role, going against the typical British understatement of things. And on the other hand, we have a major decision for UK trade policy and so-called Indo-Pacific deal. So some two major developments in this otherwise moody summer in London. Let's go see what we have for you in this episode. Now, British diplomacy is historically known for its sophistication, understatement, restraint, and generally its ability to say loads of things using few carefully chosen words. In that sense, it was pretty interesting. The man that became the epicenter of the chosen words to symbolize a bit of frustration that existed in the NATO summit in Lithuania was the British Defense Secretary Ben Wallace, who probably said the words that will remain the most historic, or people most remember when they look back at this summit. This old point that he said that actually people would like to see a bit more gratitude from Ukraine. He was referring, of course, to the pretty annoyed and pretty direct tone that President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, used when he addressed the NATO allies and he voiced his frustration for his country not being admitted into NATO. Now, there's many interpretations about why Wallace would say that. One of them is that he actually officially knows that he's not going to become the next Secretary General of NATO. He actually also recently announced that he won't be standing again even for a member of parliament, so excluding politics altogether. In that sense, he may have felt free to actually be the word voice and allowed to air many of the not so positive feelings that exist around Ukraine and Zelensky among NATO allies. Of course, we know that the Vilnius summit came perilously close to a bit of acrimony. In the end, the allies tried to close ranks again. We also celebrated the accession of Finland into the alliance. However, it is still important that with those words used by Wallace, we will say that this summit became the first time when actually a few clouds appeared in the relationship between Ukraine and NATO. We also have to know that we're in the middle of the so-called Ukrainian counteroffensive, which many people are quite impatient about, and they feel that it's not delivering all the benefits that it was supposed to deliver. In the end, the summit was salvaged. In the end, a big chunk of support was given to Ukraine, but still a bit of sour taste made. We have to see how Ukraine tried to build up again its credibility and capital among its allies, as well as the allies will have to show that they are ready to further support Ukraine. Now, moving away from NATO and Ukraine for a moment, there has also been quite an important development when it comes to UK foreign and trade policy. And that is the fact that this week, the week that we're reporting this, it was announced that the UK was officially joining the CPTPP, right? Just state those long issues. It's called the Comprehensive and Progressive Trans-Pacific Partnership. Essentially what happens is that the UK has flipped its membership of the EU for its membership of this far-flung free trade area in the Indo-Pacific. The CPTPP includes some major global economies such as Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Japan, some of the most rapidly growing emerging economies of Asia. Now, of course, as you can imagine, there's a lot of political swing going on here in London. The current government likes to present the CPTPP as just another free trade agreement of 500 million consumers, a bit like the EU. But of course, the fine print is that this is one major number that everybody's quoting and everybody's citing, that joining the CPTPP will only boost British economy by 0.08% over the coming years. So not a big boost to counteract all the hits that came from Brexit. Now, of course, one could argue that the UK joining this Asian trade agreement also has a major political and strategic benefits. It shows that the UK is becoming a power in the Indo-Pacific, and of course, this is something that fits the so-called global Britain narrative about post-Brexit Britain. We'll have to see how this agreement unfolds in the future. People expect also other countries to be joining the CPTPP. Let's also forget that China has applied to join that agreement. For now, the UK should not expect any major economic benefits, but it should expect a bit of a political boost after Brexit and its ability to show that it's a global player. So this, you could call this the initials or the alphabet bridge channel, NATO and CPTPP. We've had some interesting developments. Also, given the fact that it's summer and we normally don't get all that many news. We will be coming to you again in the coming weeks with an overall assessment of where global and transatlantic geopolitics is, and as we also take a break and we look forward to the period after the summer. Elections are coming up, lots of political developments are coming up in the UK, and of course we will also keep monitoring the situation in Ukraine. Wherever you are right now, and if you're somewhere in Southern Europe, I really do hope that you're in a cool place under a shadow. Take care, try to avoid the heat, try to avoid the sun, and try drinking loads of water. Until next time, take care.